In the gate. And they're off. Iron hopped in the air and is last. Fast start for Unbreakable Trust from the extreme outside. Here's Soinen now moving through along the inside to challenge. And Lock and Pharaoh is in between them, very quick as well. Lock and Pharaoh, in fact, up to battle for the lead. Behind them, Can You Hear Me Knockin' is now third in between horses. Charlie's to Blame at the rail, and Unbreakable Trust outside of that pair. Snowdonia and Tap It Dynasty, 6 lengths off the lead, 3 clear of Iron. Max and Lou is second to last, 2 clear of Jimmy B. Around the turn, it's Soinen in front, 1.5 lengths make it 2. Lock and Pharaoh second. Charlie's to Blame now takes that second spot and is coming after front-running Soinen at the quarter pole. In the meantime, Snowdonia has made some headway and some nice headway too, angling right off the rail for the drive. And on the outside, Unbreakable Trust is in the thick of it too. Unbreakable Trust and Snowdonia. Between those two, Charlie's to Blame fights on, and Soinen not done for them. Line up, Snowdonia a nose in front at the 16th pole. Snowdonia now ahead in front. Charlie's to Blame. A final try. It will be Snowdonia to win the opener. Charlie's to Blame second. A battle for the rest among Soinen, Tap It Dynasty, who was finishing strongly, and Unbreakable Trust.
Back to the dirt, 6.5 furlongs. Maiden special weight types, and the pick 4 kicking off, ladies, at 29,732. Michelle, we have
10. In the second race, early pick 4 wagering is offered, 24 minutes to post. In the gate. And they're off. Sully quick out of the gate. So is Dagger Ranch. And on the inside, Bartoldi is much quicker than both. So Bartoldi sets the pace. And now just before dawn moves to engage, just to head back second. Dagger Ranch 2 off the pace in third, followed by Sully, who's by himself in fourth, 4 clear of Semper Invictus. They're heading to the half-mile pole behind Bartoldi, who gets a relatively easy lead. It's almost 3 lengths over just before dawn, who is the heavy favorite in second. 4 more lengths to Dagger Ranch in third, asked to get a little bit closer in doing so. And Sully is at the rail, 10 lengths off the lead, 4 clear of Semper Invictus. They're in single file, strung out, coming to the quarter pole. Bartoldi, the one to catch under Tyler Bays. It's a 4-length lead suddenly, and he's doing it easily. The favorite just before dawn is very hard ridden, not responding at this stage. Sully on the outside is third there at the top of the stretch, and Bartoldi is threatening to blow them off the track. Semper Invictus is moving up on the outside of Sully. Those two battling for second, but a no doubt about it blast off for Bartoldi. Bartoldi by a block. Semper Invictus second, Sully third in front of Dagger Ranch. Danger going in, and Isabel Ludlow to the outside. We're in the gate, and they're off. Clean start. English Danger and Cheeky Gal. Cheeky Gal is the quickest. Amelia Blue now takes second. She's Splendid, and Isabel Ludlow joins them on the outside. English Danger, who broke well, is now 4 lengths off the lead with 1 horse behind her, and that's Leopardess. Cheeky Gal sets the pace, leads it by 3/4 of a length, going as slow as she can. With Amelia Blue second. She's Splendid at the rail in third. Isabel Ludlow fourth. English Danger and Leopardess at the back. Headstrong there too. 5 lengths covers the field. They're onto the backstretch, and it's Umberto Rispoli nursing the speed of Cheeky Gal. Cheeky Gal leads it by over 2 lengths now, with Amelia Blue in second. At the rail, it's She's Splendid with Isabel Ludlow between rivals. Then Leopardess at the back in the pink silks, who is racing on the inside of English Danger. It's been a compact field throughout, behind Cheeky Gal, who takes him into the far turn, pursued by Amelia Blue, trying to put some pressure on this loose leader, Cheeky Gal. Cheeky Gal maintains a length and a half advantage. Amelia Blue in second. She's Splendid, a clear-cut third. Leopardess moves up to take fourth, angling to the outside for the drive, turning for home, and Cheeky Gal with a 2-length lead. She's Splendid comes to chase, and Leopardess in the middle of the course. Amelia Blue dropping back, a 16th to run, and it's Cheeky Gal trying to hold off She's Splendid, who keeps coming. Cheeky Gal, She's Splendid. Cheeky Gal, She's Splendid. Here's the line. Cheeky Gal got there by a head. She's Splendid almost nailed her. Then it was Amelia Blue and Leopardess. We're in the gate. And they're off. Report is the quickest out of the gate. Pushiness was off last, but rushes up to take second. Don't You Forget is a joint third with Bolt Divine in the yellow colors between horses. Becky's Dream is next, and Noki is the distant trailer. It's Report and Pushiness to the half-mile pole. Report just in front. Pushiness coming through on the inside, and now Pushiness has the lead. Bolt Divine, 3 off the pace in third. Don't You Forget, Becky's Dream, and 7 or 8 back to Noki. 3/8 to go. Pushiness, the one to catch. Report trying to counter in second, but a length behind. 4 more to Bolt Divine in third. Noki is getting underway, starting to gather some nice momentum, but has about 8 lengths to find to catch Pushiness at the quarter pole. It's Pushiness who has built up a 4-length lead, hugging the rail and going on smartly with Report in second. In the center of the racetrack, Noki is now storming into that second spot, but Pushiness has a 7-length lead with a 16th to go. What a nice performance from Pushiness. She's getting a little tired, but this game is over. Pushiness won by 3. Noki second. Don't You Forget third. Becky's Dream was fourth. We're in the gate. And they're off. The Scent, Russell's Hustle, What's the Buzz coming through, and In Suspense has speed too. So it's What's the Buzz in front, the Scent second, and In Suspense just outside of that pair. Bolt's Treasure is racing in between horses, and Russell's Hustle is down at the rail. Going wide there was Bolt's Treasure, and that didn't do any good for Nuclear. Nuclear's packed out pretty deep. Down at the rail, Broadway Union's resemblance between those two. Sweet Odyssey and Empire's Classic at the back of the field. They move to the backstretch, and it's What's the Buzz, leading the way by a length and a half to the Scent second. In Suspense outside third. Russell's Hustle, good trip at the rail in fourth. Then comes Bolt's Treasure outside Broadway Unions. Those two stride for stride. Empire's Classic splits that pair and moves in front of them past the half-mile pole, making an aggressive bid too as Empire's Classic all the way up 4 wide as they line up into the far turn. At the back of the field, Sweet Odyssey, Nuclear is now trailing just behind Resemblance. Around the turn, What's the Buzz just in front, In Suspense between horses and Empire's Classic. 3 back. On the outside, Russell's Hustles had a beautiful trip, angling to the outside for the drive. Behind him, Broadway Union's trying to pick it up late there at the top of the stretch. And coming through at the rails, Sweet Odyssey, a 16th to go. And Russell's Hustle has emerged, handridden to the front, in front of Empire's Classic, close to home. And Russell's Hustle and Hall of Famer Mike Smith put on a beautiful ride to score by 2.5 lengths. Second went to Empire's Classic. Sweet Odyssey was third, and Broadway Unions checked in fourth. We're in the gate. And they're off. Wishes to Riches is very quick. So is Mayakama on the outside. These two battle it out in the opening stages with Tiny Prancer in third. They are followed by Uptown Preacher, who's fourth. A little hard to handle in the early going. 4 lengths off the lead. 2 clear of Maria Time, Tiz Lisette, and another 3 to Ultra Game. They're coming to the half-mile pole, and Wishes to Riches leads the way by a length, with Mayakama in pursuit second, Uptown Preacher now clearly third. Then Tiny Prancer fourth, 5 off the leaders. Behind them comes Maria Time, Tiz Lisette, Ultra Game far back, less than 3 furlongs out. Wishes to Riches and Mayakama have been 1-2 the whole way, with Uptown Preacher 5 back in third. A big gap to Tiz Lisette, 3 wide outside Maria Time. Top of the stretch, and Wishes to Riches goes on strongly, has a 3-length lead on Mayakama in second, then Uptown Preacher in third. Past mid-stretch, and it's Wishes to Riches and Kyle Frey by 4 lengths. Mayakama is game, but no match for Wishes to Riches. Wishes to Riches, much too strong, wins by almost 5 lengths. Mayakama was second, then Uptown Preacher and Tiz Lisette. Seventh is the California Flag, scratch 5, big bet, Jock. They're in the gate, and they're off in the California Flag. So I'm told is quick, but Fast Buck is much faster, and he's up to take the lead. 3 lengths back, hacking it up, comes away in third. On the whim, well spotted fourth, 6 lengths off the leaders. Then Last Call London, racing on the outside of Johnny Padres, and it's another 3 lengths back behind them to None Above the Law. Barely Functional is right next to Johnny Padres as they run down the hill. And they have to catch Fast Buck in the California Flag. He leads the way, has it by a length over So I'm Told in second. 2 more hacking it up in third. On the whim, inching forward in fourth. Just 3 lengths off the lead in the green and white. It's another 3. None Above the Law is trying to launch a bid on the outside of Last Call London. Barely Functional. And Johnny Padres is last at the top of the stretch, angling to the outside now. It's Fast Buck in front at the 8th pole. On the whim is coming after him and nicely in the center of the course. On the inside, hacking it up, looking for racing room. And None Above the Law has surfaced late. It's On the Whim, hitting the front in the final stages. On the outside, None Above the Law. On the Whim has won the California Flag. Perfectly handled by Tiago Pereira. It's a photo between Fast Buck and a flying None Above the Law for second. $5 late double starts with the 8th. Scratch numbers 10 and 13, 21 minutes. A little bit of movement on the outside, settling down. And they're off. Stanford Hottie is the quickest out of the gate, joined by Gracie's Big Dale on the inside, and in between them, Apple Valley Girl. Ryan's Girl is in the mix too, those 4 vying for the lead. Sunset Grazing in the Green Silks is next on the outside of Skylight Ride, and Newport Dreams is just inside of that pair with just 3.5 or so to make up. They're followed by Tropical Rain Day. Daddy Gave It to Me, racing on the outside of Nepal, and it's a long way to the trailer On Time Tam. Around the far turn, it's Gracie's Big Day just in front, pressed by Stanford Hottie, who's ahead back second. Newport Dreams is down at the rail in third. A 4-wide bid from Sunset Grazing, who goes about 5 wide, in fact, at the top of the stretch, where it's still Gracie's Big Day. Newport Dreams trying to get out. Skylight Ride has surfaced with a big run along the inside, closing ground, and in the center of the track, Sunset Grazing, a 16th to go, and it's Gracie's Big Day digging in, looking for the line. Gracie's Big Day, and Welfin Orantes to win it by almost 3 lengths. Newport Dreams was second, Sunset Grazing third, and Skylight Ride checked in fourth. Midnight to the outside. Racing resumes tomorrow. Special holiday racing. They're in the gate. and they're off. Classically began very nicely. So did Sir Maximus, who's up to take the lead. And so he sprints a length and a half clear. Eligio in between horses. One-time mark is outside of them. Then Bound to Succeed, fourth by the stands the first time. Followed by Classically, who broke well and settles in mid-pack. Just in behind them comes Uncharted in the blue, and Ready to Rumble is down at the rail. A four-wide Storm in Midnight outside Kawasaki. The trailer is Mongolian Champ. Onto the backstretch, and Sir Maximus sets the pace, leads it by a length and a half. Eligio's second, one-time mark inches up and takes that second spot. Then Bound to Succeed, Classically in between horses, and Kawasaki outside of them, 5 off the leader. Down at the rail, and Ready to Rumble is next as they pass the half-mile pole. Another length to Storm Midnight, followed by Uncharted, who's at the back of the field in front of Mongolian Champ. It's still Sir Maximus into the far turn. He's been there throughout. Leads it by a length and a half around the far turn. One-time mark goes to put pressure on him. Those two will arrive at the quarter pole together with one-time mark pushed along hard, but up to take the lead. Kawasaki is behind the top three as the field turns for home. Classically is just inside of him. They're a furlong from the finish. It's still a wide open scramble. One-time mark has his head in front. On the outside, Bound to Succeed gets out late. Sir Maximus is still fighting on bravely between horses and Ready to Rumble with a late bid, but it's one-time mark. One-time mark won it. And Ready to Rumble came flying late to complete the exacta. Behind them, it was between Sir Maximus and Bound to Succeed.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to a special holiday Monday day of racing here at St. Anita. We've got a good 9-race card, and as you can see on the screen, if you're on track, good news, it's Dollar Day. Dollar beer, dollar sodas, and $2 hot dogs all day long here at the Gray Race Place. You can see the people in that graphic are having a good time. We hope you have a good time if you're visiting us here in Arcadia, California. Also, since you're saving a lot of money on beer, sodas, and hot dogs, you'll have plenty of money left over for the new wagers here at the Auto Meet. There's a couple that are especially important. The $5 late daily double with a $5 minimum, of course, and the $3 late pick three with a $3 minimum. Both have a low 15% takeout. Those wagers are on the last 2 and last 3 races every day, respectively, here at San Anita. Also, of course, you know we're back to a traditional $2 San Anita pick 6, and that's always a big wager and a popular wager with the players. Tom Quigley sitting alongside the morning line odds maker for not only San Anita, but also Delmar and the Breeders' Cup this year. His name, Jeff Siegel. Jeff, happy Monday. Welcome to the seminar.
I'm happy to be here on a Monday holiday with you. Challenging card, but let's see if we can attack it and pick some winners.
You're wearing your Dodger blue, and of course they emerged victorious last night. They play this afternoon during the races. I'm sure plenty of fans will be watching the Dodgers game. You've been a busy man. You probably don't have much time to watch the Dodger games. They're making you burn the midnight oil these days, Jeff.
Yeah, it's tough. It's not tough. It's just
it's a labor of love.
Yeah, it's time consuming. You try to do a good job. I've missed a few. I admit that, because the turnaround is pretty quick. You got to get it in 2 days early in the morning. So if you're not burning the midnight oil, as you say, then you're going to miss things. And I missed a few, but mostly I've been happy with my first foray at it, and hopefully we'll get more than we get right than we get wrong.
You're like a baseball umpire or a basketball referee. They only notice your work when you make a mistake, right? You could go basically 90 races in a row with no mistakes, but that first time you make a mistake, all of a sudden, the bows and arrows come out.
That's for sure. It's like being an offensive guard. You blow it, you cause a sack, and it's your fault.
Now you talked about a quick turnaround, Jeff. Of course, the Breeders' Cup is lurking right around the corner. It's just 19 days from now will be Breeders' Cup weekend. Have you done any preparatory work in anticipation of the Breeders' Cup races?
I've just started because I got some PPs, advanced PPs, and what I'm doing now is watching as much video as I can among the foreign horses, the Europeans, for example.
Japanese.
Yeah, a few of them. They're hard to find, some of those races. They got an undefeated. I'll give you a filly. There's a filly named Awesome Result, who's a perfect 7 for 7 in Japan.
Wow.
She's going to run in the Breeders' Cup distaff. And there's no video on her, so I can't watch that. There's no charts that I can find. But I did find a quote from the trainer when they asked him over there if he thought she could be competitive with our best over here. And he gave a very insightful answer. He said, I don't know. If he doesn't know, how am I supposed to know? So I'll probably lay her a safe 10 or something on the morning line. That's all I could do.
You probably make a preliminary line, but then do you adjust it, Jeff, actually for post positions, particularly in route races where maybe the clubhouse turn comes up? In other words, when you're faced with that last minute information based upon the post position draw or maybe a jockey change, do you try and tinker with your morning line, or it is what it is?
I would love to do it. They won't let me. And the reason for that is when they draw for television, they draw the post position. They want the odds like right there.
Which is going to be on Monday of Breeders' Cup week.
So I have to give them the odds regardless of the post. I mean, it's just that's why it's hard, I'm saying. And it's 5 days out, so
yeah.
And again, it's not like making a line here at Santa Anita where most of the horses, you know how they fit against each other. You gotta, they run up against each other. But here you have horses coming from all over the world, and there's money coming from all over the world. I mean, the Euro money might show, the Japanese money might show, and they know their horses may be better than I do. So it's, again, I'm really looking forward to the challenge, but I know it's not going to be easy.
You talked about the San Anita races, so let's focus on those for a moment.
Right.
How important when you're establishing the morning line are either the trainer or the jockey? And let me actually rephrase that question just slightly differently. As you're handicapping a race, you obviously kind of, you've identified who you think is the most likely winner and probably the morning line favorite. But if they come from either weak connections or strong connections, does that influence your morning line?
It has to, because I'm trying to predict what the public is going to bet. I might like a horse a lot. In fact, I've been burned by that, by liking a horse a lot and making them too low, because not everybody sees the race that I do.
See it.
But you're right. I mean, certain trainers like Juan Hernandez is going to get bet. He's a jockey, and then certain, Baffert's always going to get bet. That 2-year-old that ran yesterday that opened at 1-5, 3-year-old, I think he was. Yeah, 1-5, got beat away off.
In race 2,
and I watched his workouts on XBTV, and I liked him, but I didn't think he was any sensational superstar, and he ran bad. But you knew he was going to get bet. He has to, So you have to adjust your line not only on what you think, but then what the public is more importantly. How are they going to see the race? Where's the money going to come from? And yesterday I had a horse that was like 2-1 or something, and then the last flash it went off at like 4-5 or something. These things you can't adjust for. You think you got it right, and all of a sudden they spring the latch and you don't have it right.
Do you find it more difficult, Jeff, to make morning lines for small fields or large fields? And I think that's kind of a little bit of a trick question, right? Because people would intuitively think, well, maybe the small fields, it's easier to make a morning line.
Right.
In my opinion, having never done a morning line in my life, I would actually think a large field is easier to make a morning line for, because there's so many that probably have little to no chance to win.
Well, not only that, but you have to balance the line, which is to say, when you make odds, it has to add up to a certain percentage, usually 127. If a pure line would be adding up to 100, because every odds has a equivalent percentage number.
Correct.
So when you have a big field, you have more room to maneuver, if you know what I'm saying. They figure, okay, it's supposed to add up to 127. I got 132, so I got to knock off. I have to,
That's easy.
Yeah, that's easy. But if you have like 5 horses, where do you go? I don't want to drop a horse from 6 to 5 to even money, because then I'll be too high. But when you have a big field, it's actually easier because you can play around and get it to fit better, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Yeah.
Speaking of playing around, we're going to play around with today's 9-race card and find out who Jeff's likes on today's 9-race card. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati, who I'm sure was watching the Dodger game last night, and get the early changes on today's special Monday card of racing here at Santa Anita.
Good afternoon and welcome to a special holiday program and Dollar Day at Santa Anita Park. Dollar beer and sodas, $2 hot dogs served this afternoon. The track is fast and the turf course is firm with the rail on the turf out 10 feet. Here are the early changes. In the first, number 5, You're in Trouble, 2 pounds over. Second race, Blinker Notes. In the third, overweights, number 4, Took Charge, +1, 5, Mission Beach, +1. Race 4 is the start of the $2 pick 6, number 1, Dance Kid, 1 pound over. In the fifth, scratch number 2, Dealer's Special. The all-turf pick 3 is offered on races 5, 7, and 9, and the 50-cent late pick 5, scratch number 2, Dealer's Special. In the sixth, scratch number 4, Stella Starlight. The seventh is the Swing Time Stakes. And started the $3 late pick 3. The $5 late double starts with the 8th, just the 1 blinker note in race 8. And in the 9th, the only race with super high 5 wagering this season will be the last race. Number 12, Kerry Gold, also eligible, is scratched. Enjoy this special holiday program at Santa Anita Park. We are 59 minutes away from the opener. At this time, we go back to Quigley's Corner. Tom's special guest is Jeff Siegel, the morning line odds maker for Santa Anita Park, Del Mar, and the Breeders' Cup.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with Jeff Siegel. He's the morning line odds maker for here at Santa Anita, as well as the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club and the Breeders' Cup, which will be the first weekend in November. Jeff, we've got 9 races to rattle through here, including some videos. So let's kick things off in race number 1, where it begins the popular 50-cent early pick 5. This race is on the turf course, where the rails today are at 10 feet at 6 furlongs in distance. $25,000 is the claiming tag. Got a field of 7. Currently favoritism hovering back and forth between the 1 and the 2, Tiergarten, and number 2, Champagne Cammy. Champagne Cammy was your 8-5 morning line favorite. Before we get your thoughts on the race, let's watch a video that both of those runners come out of. It would be back on August 17th. It was the 10th race, and they're going to break from post positions number 3 and 5. That distance, of course, at Del Mar was 5 furlongs. Today's distance is 6 furlongs. That extra furlong might be very important in determining who the winner might be. So let's listen to Trevor Denman describe the action and watch the runners breaking from post positions 3 and 5, which specifically are Tiergarten and Champagne Cami.
And away they go to a perfect start. Loopy the Grey is very fast now. Dancing Soul sprinting up on the inside. Sweet Sunny comes through to get third, and then it's Woodbine Way. Champagne Cami in the white blinkers is 6 lengths off the leaders. Avantap is in the red. Then comes Tiergarten, and at the back a Day in Asia, 10 off the leader. Into the turn they go, and Dancing Soul leads at a half a length. Loopy is right there in second. Then it's 3.5 to Woodbine Way. At the Ray comes Sweet Sunny. Champagne Cami, white blinkers till 8 lengths off the leaders, and then Avantap. They are coming to the top of the lane now, and Dancing Soul continues to lead them. Loopy running a big one on the outside. Champagne Cami getting involved late as well. They come for home. Dancing Soul not showing any signs of slowing down. Great run from Avantap. On the outside, Champagne Cami. Dancing Soul.
Jeff, as we watch the gallop, we can see Champagne Cami finishing well in front, indicating that perhaps she'll like the 6 furlong distance today. She actually has a win at this distance back on June 1st. And Tiergarten had a bit of a subtle trouble trip, I should say. Now Umberto Rispoli takes over. First time in the Peter Miller barn. How'd you see race 1?
Well, these two horses, we saw they finished noses apart, so they're back against each other again. I actually thought, though, that in trying, I figured, okay, we're starting from scratch, and they're both like noses apart. So how do I separate them? And in this particular case, I thought the extra furlong might help Champagne Cami. She clearly is a mare who doesn't have a lot of early speed, but she can finish well. I thought they both finished well. Tiergarten got through. She's got a prior win over the course. But here's the most important thing for me, and I thought this might tip the scales for the gambler, in that she's back with Juan Hernandez. And if you look at how she runs under Hernandez, I mean, that's who she runs for. That's her jock. You know what I'm saying? They know each other well. And I thought that would be enough to tip the scales. They're both 2-1 right now in the morning line. Champagne Cami, the slight favorite. But I think as we get closer to post time, I think they'll start to separate themselves a little bit on the tote. But those are the two main players as I see it.
It's an interesting handicapping angle that you brought up, Jeff, because I don't think a lot of players consider the pilot, because the previous experience, particularly successful previous experience with a certain jockey, does play a role. We've seen that for decades, right? You can remember, think back to Shoe or whoever, Eddie D. Some jocks just fit certain horses.
Yeah, and fit in certain styles, too. You know, certain horses need to be ridden a certain way, and you put a jock on that likes to take a hold and be patient. That might work better. So, but I think that I looked at that and I said, I can't make them co-favorites, so I've got to pick a side here. And right now, Champagne Cami is a slight favorite, but again, we still have 55 minutes to post. The real serious money hasn't come in yet.
The last 90 seconds is usually when it does. Let's take a look at race number 2. Begins the 50-cent early pick 4. This race is for maiden claimers. 2-year-old fillies in for a $32,000 tag. We've got a field of 7. Number 2, Rapida. By the way, all 7 are going 2 turns for the very first time. Number 2, Rapida. Let's see here. Taking blinkers off, I should say, for trainer Ryan Hansen, is the heavy 6-5 morning line favorite. Let's watch another replay here, Jeff. This one was at Los Alamitos, and the inside 3 horses all exit this same replay we're about to watch. It was the 8th race at Los Alamitos on September 20th. There's a couple of things I want you to watch here in the replay. Number 2, Rapida, the current morning line favorite in race number 2 today, breaks from post position number 3. When she breaks from the gate, and we're going to be able to see the head on here, she actually breaks outward and impedes most of the other outside horses, including She's My Flame and Lucky Nia, who are drawn into this race as well. That's the first thing I want you to watch in the replay. The second thing I want you to watch in the replay is the gallop out, because even though Lucky Nia, who's going to break from post position number 8 here, does no running during the running of the race, in the gallop out as they approach the clubhouse turn, she's actually picking up a lot of momentum. Maybe she's the one that will like 2 turns at a big price, but let's watch the runners breaking from post positions 3, 7, and 8, and listen to Michael Rona describe the action back on September 20th at Los Alamitos.
Racing. Rose's Wish speeds out of gate 1. There's a bit of crowding towards the middle of the line. Iconic Memories flashing across the face of the field from the outside post, and with a wing on every hoof, this debutante dashes away. Half a mile to go. Iconic Memory, couple of lengths in front. From on the inside, Rose's Wish, who's being passed by Rapida. Rapida now moving up within a length of the front runner. Lucky Nia is fourth on the outside. Lady Lollipop has the red and black colours, one off the fence nearing the top of the stretch. Helen's Revenge scouting very wide. Venice Vibe is a long way back in the field at the top of the lane with a quarter mile to go. We're Rhythmical and She's My Flame are the last pair. Towards the 8th pole in the stretch, and Iconic Memory striding out boldly on a 2.5 length lead. Rapida second, 5 lengths clear of the rest. Lady Lollipop, Helen's Revenge, and then Venice Vibe making some late ground. But Iconic Memory has run them off their legs. Big win on debut by 3.5.
Jeff, Rapida was properly disqualified after that incident in the starting gate. As they approach the clubhouse turn here and continue the gallop out, although Lucky Nia finished last in the race, you're going to see her flash right here along the rail in the white silks. There she goes up the rail and continuing her gallop out. That's one of the reasons why I think she might like 2 turns. Of course, it's a guess, but she's 30-1 on your morning line, so I'm willing to at least dabble at that price. Give us your thoughts on race 2.
All right. First of all, about Lucky Nia, she's run 5 times, and 3 of the 5 races she's been 60-1 or higher.
Perfect.
Including last race. Okay. So I thought it was pretty safe laying her at 30. She might get some play for the reasons you pointed out.
No disrespect to you. I like the big price.
No,
that's okay.
You were going to get it. I promise you that. Now, Rapida definitely impeded several in that race, but she also impeded herself.
Correct.
Because once she made that right-hand turn, the jock had to straighten her. I like the way she stayed on through the lane. I love the blinkers off angle, which, by the way, Lucky Nia also is doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But this track is very pro speed.
Yes, it is.
And especially inside speed going a mile, or horses that are drawn towards the inside, especially if they are the lone F, the controlling speed, which on paper looks like Rapida could be that, and if she gets loose in the lead with the blinkers off, she'll relax. I just think she wires the field. I think maybe there's a possibility that the second choice I have her, She's My Flame, will run well as well. First time around 2 turns, pedigree suggests that she should get a mile. She was one of those that got wiped out in that race. But her previous races aren't bad. She's got a 53 buyer to go back to on this track, which probably would win this race. So I think she's a legitimate second choice. And then I think I have a hunch that Tim Yaktin's filly is a little bit better than Shown Empress and Lorraine. Again, 2 sprints in a stretch out pattern. And she's trained better than she's run so far, but sometimes that will happen with 2-year-olds.
Race number 3, we're coming down the hillside turf course. This race is for allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 2. Other than that, we've got a good field of 8. Number 6, Daniel's Magic, the hard-knocking 6-year-old from the Owen Hardy barn with first-time Hector Barrios is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Give us your thoughts on race 3, Jeff.
I think it's him and number 2, Moop Tada. I think those are the 2 that are pretty solid. Went back and tried to check out and see how these horses have run down the hill. And Daniel's Magic, a couple of things. First of all, he's run well down the hill in the past. And second thing is he is coming out of much the best of the races. I mean, you're 4th, beating 2 lengths from Notorious, going 5/8, and now you're going 6.5. It figures that he would like to, get his legs underneath him, settle, not have to be rushed, and then make his move. So I think all things being equal, I think those are the 2 that I think you can probably feel fairly safe in using if you're playing rolling exotics, and maybe if you want to put in a smaller ticket, you can get by with those 2.
Jeff, as a young pup working here at St. Anita, you told me something that was very astute and very simple. You said the hill's the hill, and what you meant by that is basically runners that like coming down the hillside turf course continue to follow that pattern, and runners that don't like the hillside turf course continue to not like coming down the hill. Is that kind of an oversimplification of how you view?
Well, there's a reason for it, because number 1, you're making a right-hand turn, you're making a left-hand turn, you're going up a hill, you're going down a hill, you're crossing the dirt, and you need a handy horse to do that. A horse that can, I actually like smaller horses or middle-sized horses that
they're more agile.
They're more agile. They're more athletic, and they can accommodate all the changes. And also, when they cross that dirt, they fan out, as you know, a lot of times. And you need a horse that can give you that turn of foot, that acceleration right on a dime. And some horses, they need to build up momentum, and they can't get stopped and recover. So I like to see, usually if you've had success on the course, your horse, then it shows that he can do that. And that's why I like to lean towards it.
Race number 4 begins the $2 pick 6, and we kick things off for fillies and mares in for an $8,000 tag. 6 furlongs the distance. We've got a field of 7. The heaviest morning line favorite on the program is number 4, Discrepancy, from the aforementioned Tim Yock Teen Barn. 4 to 5 on the morning line. Single for everybody. Free bingo square, Jeff?
These are the kind of horses that get the once over in the morning of the race from the vets, right? Because you take a horse that wins with that kind of buyer and runs for 8, even though this is a logical place to run him. Usually, I mean, Tim's got to figure that he's going to lose this filly. Now it's number 1, and number 2 is he probably didn't care. Moving on. Let's get something better in here. But yeah, I mean, she just won. She did it nicely at Los Al. She's run okay on this track. Numbers wise, she's a stick out. I didn't really want to make her this short a price. But I did a preliminary line, and everything I had was 10 to 1. I said I got to drop a few of these, and then I looked at Wrong Turn Cupid at 2 to 1, coming off a win like Los Al. Numbers wise, she's right there with the other fillies, so I figured she'd be the second choice. Plus, she's run well at Santa Anita, so maybe the gap between 4 to 5 on Discrepancy and 2 to 1 on Wrong Turn Cupid is a little wider than it'll turn out to be. But I think those are the 2 you have to look at.
Fair enough. Let's take a look at race number 5. Begins the 50-cent late pick 5, as well as the all-turf pick 3, which is a $3 minimum wager. We're going to kick things off for both those wagers. Going 1 mile on the turf course. It's a starter optional claiming race. Scratch the 2 dealer special. Still leaves us with a full field of 10. Number 6, One of These Days from the Phil D'Amato barn. Congratulations to the D'Amato family on career win number 1,000 yesterday. We'll see if Phil can get 1,001 today with One of These Days. Talk to us about race 5, Jeff.
Well, I originally laid him at 3 to 1, which makes it, as the favorite, a wide open race, which I thought it was. And it still may be, but then you got the 7 to 2 morning, second choice in the morning line, dealer special scratching. So now I have to send an adjusted line, which means I just basically dropped everybody a point or two, and I got those points back in making a line that will now balance. But one of these days, again, the good news is he's running for 50. This is the first time they've risked him for attack.
Yep.
They've been knocking their heads. He's been running fairly good races, but not winning. And I think after a series of races, the connection saying, how about let's try to win a race, run him for 50. And, he's hit the board 3 out of 6 times over this course. I think that one of these days will run well. He's more effective if he can lay fairly close to the pace. He doesn't have a big kick. I think he's going to be right where he needs to be here. So I dropped him to 5 to 2 on the new adjusted morning line. That seems like a square price for him.
And then you also give a little bit of love to number 3, Big Juanito. What do you like about the Son of Collected?
Well, I mean, I thought, he's a lightly raised horse. He's, therefore he's improving. His numbers are rising, which I like. He comes off a nice win at Del Mar, and he got a little help up front. But I like the fact that he's protected. And if he can produce another forward move, and I know he didn't beat anybody when he won, but he did it stylishly, and he's drawn well. I think he has a chance to outrun what now will be 8 to 1. I think he has a good chance to hit the board. Use him in your exactas or trifecta.
One additional positive comment for number 6, One of These Days, Jeff's top selection in the morning line favorite in the race. Very productive race that he exits. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place finishers all came back to win.
Definitely.
Those specifically were Zio Joe on the whim, who won the California Flag Handicap, and also Lahaina Flavor. So that race has proven to be productive. Right. All of them had big buyer speed figures. The question becomes what type of trip One of These Days is going to get, but nevertheless looks to be a deserving favorite. Race number 6 begins the 50-cent late pick 4, sprinting the abbreviated sprint distance of 5.5 furlongs on the main track for maiden claimers, in for a $40,000 tag. Scratch the 4, Stella Starlight, leaves us with a field of 6. Number 5, Spirit Rulers from the Peter Miller barn, 6 to 5 on the morning line. Talk to us about race 6, Jeff.
Another situation where I made him lower than I would bet on him. I mean, he's not a 6 to 5 type of horse, but everything is relative to the competition. And man, one thing I've been surprised a little bit, they shouldn't be, is how many of these favorites get hammered late. I mean, they're just, horses that you expect to be 8 to 5, 2 to 1, they're 2 to 5 or 3 to 5. So my old friend Ernie Mason used to say, you can't make a favorite low enough. And I think I'm learning that right now. But Spirit Rules, it's Peter Miller. It's switching to Juan Hernandez. Good second at this level at Los Alamitos. Again, he's a horse that got speed in a race in which there doesn't seem to be that much in terms of a 5.5 type speed. So I like them. I think Running Super's got a chance. Again, lightly raced, eligible to improve, dropping off a second drop off a claim for Vladimir Serin, he's a tough guy. I like him. He used to be my neighbor, but he's a tough guy for me to figure out. Because when he gets hot, he gets really hot, And his horses have been running pretty good here. So I think running Super is definitely worth a look if you don't want a single Spirit rules. But I do think the public is going to gravitate towards Spirit rules here and make them pretty short.
Race number 7 is the feature race on our card. It's the $80,000 added purse swing time stakes going 1 mile on the turf course. It also begins our new wager, which is the late pick 3, the $3 wager that I spoke about earlier with the 15% takeout. The swing time stakes will be run at 1 mile on the turf course. We've got a really good field of 9 here, including the Invader from back east. First time around 2 turns. Number 4, Queen of the Mud from the Gray Emotion Barn. Graham been shipping out a few horses out to Southern California, probably in preparation for the Breeders' Cup. Not sure that she's good enough to run in the Breeders' Cup, but she could be the controlling speed, and that seems to be one of the reasons why you like her, Jeff.
That is the main reason. I laid her 3-1. I would take that in a heartbeat. I think she'll go lower. First time around 2 turns, an angle that I love. A race that doesn't have a lot of speed in it, which means she'll probably make the running. Even though she's been beaten as the favorite in her last 2, her numbers are solid, better than the field. I know that Graham doesn't ship horses unless he likes, then he knows they're doing well, which is good. Picks up Juan Hernandez, nothing wrong with that, right? And I think the situation here is he's trying to win a stakes with this filly, and this is a good spot. It's a restricted affair. Good purse, but I think the black type is worth more. And again, projecting the race flow, it looks to me like Queen of the Mud and Juan Hernandez can make the running. And lone speed on this course, it's pretty dangerous. And I think she's going to get the kind of trip. Again, 3-1 on the morning line. Don't be surprised if she goes lower. I'd take 3-1. I hope I can get it.
Your second choice on the morning line is number 6, Moment's Pleasure, the 3-year-old Calbred filly who pretty much dances every dance. 7 for 9 in the money last time out. Misfired slightly. Maybe that was due to the outside post. Why do you like her maybe to round out the exacta?
Good form over the course, numbers that fit, good stalking style. She's not going to be in front of Queen of the Mud, but she should be within range, and then she's going to have to go get her. That's going to be the tough part, but I think she'll have a good trip and then have every chance to, if nothing else, complete the exacta.
Race number 8 on paper seems to be a really good maiden special weight 2-year-old race. We're going 2 turns on the main track. It also begins the $5 late daily double with a 15% takeout. We've got a field of 8. Number 2, Day and Age, second career start, going sprinter out for trainer Richard Mandela. Again, is the relatively lukewarm 3-1 morning line favorite. Number of these clumped right in that same category, Jeff, including the second choice, also from the Doug O'Neill barn, Dr. Ruben M., who's going 2 turns once again. This looks to be a really good race.
It is, and there's a gamble for me in this race, and that's Zabo. I probably could have dropped him a little bit on the price, but he didn't do much running in his first start. But there are 2 things that I was not able to check out when I made the morning line that I have checked out since. Again, the rapid turnaround. These things are due 2 days ahead of time in the morning. So sometimes I can't. And I don't even get the PPs till the previous night.
Well, let's take a look at Saturday as an example. They draw the races on Wednesday afternoon. Yeah. You basically have to submit the morning line by Thursday morning.
Tomorrow morning, yeah, right. That's sometimes a challenge, especially if I'm going to a Dodger game or something.
Or a UCLA Bruin game.
Yeah, well, I can leave early on those games. But let me tell you about Zabo, because he's my gamble of the day. Now, he's a justified colt. They gave $700,000 for him in the 2-year-old sale, so he had to preview well.
Sure. First
time out, he runs him on the grass, he being Bob Baffert. Not sure why. I guess he maybe wanted to run him long first time out, and the turf race came up. And he broke actually pretty well enough, but then he was green. He didn't know what he was doing. He dropped back to last. And the jock said, okay, I'm going to let you get your feet underneath you. I'm not going to ask you to do something you don't want to do right now. I'll let you run the last quarter of a mile. We'll see what we can do. Well, he finished well. He galloped out in front of everybody. Okay. But that's not why I like him. I mean, that's a positive. But why I like him is he come back, and this is something you can check on XPTV.com. This colt comes back with 2 dirt works, and he looked like a stakes horse.
A different horse.
A different horse. I mean, he had 2, an older maiden that can run, another horse, and he just dusted him off. He looked fantastic. Nice stride. You can see the times, 46.4, minute and 5th, breezing, full of run. I think this horse is going to improve a ton, not only with the race and experience behind him, but the switch to dirt. And I still think he's got a chance to be a really good colt. Plus, some of these other horses, they're solid, like Dr. Ruben M. I mean, he is what he is. I don't think he can beat a good colt, but I think it takes a decent colt to beat him. And I think that Zabo's got a chance to be a decent colt. So I'm looking for him to get play. I really am, and I think the morning line, I think I probably could have dropped them a couple points and not get hurt.
How spoiled are we as handicappers here in Southern California, Jeff, to have that handicapping tool, xptv.com? It is invaluable. Most circuits don't have anything close to that, yet we put in the time, money, and energy to provide handicappers by visiting that website, and almost like a Google page, just putting in the horse's name, and up pops the history. I mean, it is an incredible tool those of you watching who are not using it are missing out on valuable information.
Well, it's the main reason why I like Zabos, because I was able to see the workouts. I was talking to Jeff Tufts a couple days ago, who used to be.
How's he doing, by the way?
He's going up in grade in Oregon. He retired, I guess, 15 years ago. He was my idol when I was growing up, because he was a morning line maker. And I said, and he said, you need some help for the Breeders' Cup. And I said, I need all the help I can get. So we'll talk before then. But what he said was, I said, when I took this job, I had a new appreciation of what you did. You didn't have videos for workouts. You didn't have buyer numbers. You didn't have
access to replays easily.
No, unless you VHS it, cataloged it, and you put out a great morning line with all of the tools, with none of the tools that I get, I mean, I have no excuses to miss a morning line. You had plenty of them, man. You were the best. So he laughed at that, but I'm going to pick his brain for the Breeders' Cup, because he'll see things I don't see, so, but anyway, but you're right about the XPTV workout video, and man, it's a lifesaver. It not only tells me who to make low, but it tells me not to make low. Some horses I look at and I see, it looks pretty good, and I don't think so. I watched the video.
Like the Charlie Whittingham quote, right? Time only matters.
Yeah.
When you're in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
Race number 9. We close out the day and we close out the week on this holiday Monday. Keep in mind, live racing resumes this coming Friday at San Diego. Again, first post will be 1 o'clock. We have an 8-race card scheduled for you on Friday. But first things first, race 9 today offers $1 super high five wagering. We're once again going 1 mile on the turf course. Allowance optional claiming types, Calbreds, non-winners of one other than. Scratch the also eligible number 12, Kerry Gold, will not compete. Still leaves us with a full field of 11, including the morning line favorite number 8. Don't Fight the Fed, 5-2 on the morning line. Another really good betting race here, Jeff.
Back on the grass here. He ran all right in the E.B. Johnson. He was second, no excuse, but he earned a good number. But he's got a bunch of really strong numbers on grass over this course. So I think he's going to improve again, snap back to his best form. And he's got enough tactical speed to be close enough to where the pace flow won't bother him, whatever it may be. He's going to avoid traffic. He doesn't have a big kick, but he's good when he can lay right in the fray. And the way this race shapes up, I think he's going to be where he needs to be.
Don't Fight the Fed, sired by Nyquist. I'd be remiss in not asking you about your thoughts about Nyquist as a sire. You're a student of the game in every way, shape, or form, including pedigree. He was a great racehorse. He actually might be turning out to be a better sire.
Well, the funny thing is, I don't think he gets enough credit for being as good as he was as a racehorse. He was fantastic, and he was sired by Uncle Mo. But he's doing unbelievably well, and the breeders love him. You know why? Because he does just as well with the colts as he does with the fillies. You don't have to, you don't
separate
have to,
them.
You don't. Some stallions, they're great until you realize that they're all colts, they're all fillies. But Nyquist gets them both, and so when you go to the sales, you can look at them all, and he gets a high quality racehorse. And I'm glad to see that Baffert's colt is back training again. So that's good with Nysos. So yeah, look for him to show up maybe in the Malibu Stakes.
Jeff Siegel's been a stallion at Santa Anita for many, many decades. It's our pleasure to have him on the seminar today. Jeff, thank you so much for your time and insight. Continued good luck making the morning line, not only here at Santa Anita, but also for the Breeders' Cup. It should be a great championship weekend. Really appreciate your input and your hard work.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy Holiday Monday here at Santa Anita. Dollar Day, dollar beers, sodas, and $2 hot dogs. Good 9-race card. Good luck, everybody. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you Friday.